Hey Guitar Fam and friends, what's going on? It's Nate Savage here and welcome to this video. We're going to take a look at the opening solo to the Pink Floyd song, Wish You Were Here. Okay, this is a great solo to learn if you just wanting to get into how to start using pentatonics to play over chords and just, learn a great classic solo too. As we go through the solo, I'll show you what chord shapes or scale shapes that I'm thinking about with each lick. That way you'll have some practical knowledge along with the ability to play this solo. As usual, we have the jam track available for you and the tab too, so don't forget to go to the Guitar Fam site, and while you're there, create your complimentary account so you can access all the other cool stuff available for you there. Now let me tell you, this jam track is just a loop of the rhythm guitar part that's being played under the solo for this song, and it just repeats over and over again, and you'll have a count off like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. And as soon as it finishes and it counts you in again, and it starts over, probably like for 4 or 5 minutes. So that's the way you use the jam track for this one, just so you know. And if you want to watch the full performance of the song again, it's at the beginning, you just saw it, and then it'll be at the end for you to check out. All right, let's go ahead and get into this. We're in the key of G major. And since we're in the key of G major, most of the action happens down here in the open, like G major pentatonic position, or the next position up. So those are the main two things we're going to be thinking about over the E minor and G chord. The only other chord we're playing over is an A7 sus4. Which is kind of it's a secondary dominant. It's like having a major 2 chord. So I'll fill you in what's going on, or what chord shapes I'm thinking about as we go through these little riffs. So it starts off on an E minor chord. So the first lick is sliding from 2 to 4 on the G string, and I use my middle finger for this. And then index finger on the 3rd fret of the B string. So it's rest for the first beat of that measure, 1, and then you have 2 and 3, 4, and really I'm just thinking E minor, but I'm really just thinking this E minor pentatonic, G major pentatonic, whichever way you want to think about it, and this one. Kind of combining them and switching back and forth between them. So next measure, 5 with my 3rd finger, 5th fret on the B, 4th fret on the G string with my 2nd finger, and then back to 3 on the B string with my index finger. So really I'm really up in this G major pentatonic. That's what most people think when they think about the shape, but I'm still just thinking E minor, right? Because I have E minor here and then this E minor here that we're using, that's being played in the rhythm part. So 1. And that, so it's 1, 2, and 3, 4, 1, and 2, 3. And then you have a triplet feel here for this last beat, just 3 8th note triplets. And this, if you've never done a lot of pull-offs like this before, this can be tricky, so really isolate this. Just play 4th fret of the G string with your 3rd finger, then pull off to the 2nd fret of the G string with your 1st finger, and it's good to have that 1st finger already back there, so once you do the pull off, it's there to catch that next note, and then pull off again to the open G string. So I would spend some time on that if that's new to you. Pull, pull, pick, pull, pull. And especially since it's on acoustic, it requires a little bit more strength than usual to get that down, but really isolate it. And that's the last little phrase before we switch to a G major chord. So I'm really thinking about coming back down to that open kind of E minor pentatonic with that last open G note there. So let me play that whole first phrase for you, the first 2 measures over the E minor chord. And I'm thinking about this as being at 122 beats per minute. So 1, 2, and 3, da 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 da. So something like that. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Okay, the next two measures are over a G chord, and it starts off with just an open D string for the first 3 beats of that measure. And an open D, a D is in the chord G, B, and D, right? So I'm really thinking just this G major chord or this G major pentatonic, but I'm really thinking G major chords because I have D for 3 beats, and then I have this sliding in from the first fret to the second fret to this B right here that's in the chord 2. And then an open D again for that, the and a 4. And then the next measure, you hit that open D again for a whole measure, 1, 2, 3, 4. So those 2 measures of G will be 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so let me play those first 4 measures for you all together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. All right, one more time, a little bit slower. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. And probably the trickiest part of that first bit is definitely the pull-off thing for me. Making sure you get 3 evenly spaced notes on beat 4 of that second measure. It's a little bit tricky, but really, again, isolate it. And treat this as a chance to really do a workout for your pull-offs with these 2 fingers on those 3 notes, you know. Okay, now we come to the next 2 measures of E minor, and this is where the slidey bits come in, and this is a little bit tricky. The fingers that you choose to use with this lick are kind of important because it kind of sets a precedence, and you need to be really consistent with it to make it as easy as possible for you. But start off on the 3rd fret of the high E and B strings, and I like to use my middle finger for this. You can use your index finger too, or your 3rd finger, it doesn't matter, just be consistent with it. And I like to use my my 2nd finger just because of what's coming after this. It makes it a little bit easier to transition. So hit 3, fret 3, the downstroke, and slide up to 5. Okay? And then do the same thing, but do it in reverse. Hit 5, both strings, and slide down to 3. Okay, so, and all I'm thinking for this E minor chord I'm playing over is this E minor pentatonic scale. And really I'm thinking G major pentatonic because I'm in the key of G. But that's what I'm singing, and I'm singing this E major bar chord shape that's actually a G. That's the shape I'm thinking, so hit, slide up, hit, slide down, and then from here, the next slidey bit, my middle finger stays on the 3rd fret of the B string there, and my index finger comes over to the 2nd fret of the G string. We have the same story here, but this is our shape we're going to be sliding now. So hit the G and the B strings, 1st finger on the 2nd fret of the G, 2nd finger on the 3rd fret of the B. Hit it and slide that shape up 2 frets. And when you do that, your index finger will be on the 4th fret of the G, and your middle finger will be on the 5th fret of the B. So, and when you do that, you're going to do the exact same idea, hit it again, and then slide back down to where you came from. So, start here, pick, slide, and then pick, slide. Okay, so far, the slidey bits over that E minor. From there, you do a pull off and can't let this 3rd fret of the B string keep ringing out, and then just pull off to the open G string there. So it's a little bit softer sounding. And from there, you go back to this shape, 2nd fret of the G, 3rd fret of the B, hit it, slide up again 2 frets, hit it again, slide back down to where you started, then pull off to the open G string, and while leaving your 2nd finger there on the 3rd fret of the B string, and then hit both the G and the B strings open. And that's your transition to an open G chord, or the G chord. And when I do that, I think just a regular G chord because it has that G and the B string open. So take your time with this. This one can be a little bit tricky with the slides if you've never done this before. First off, you have to put enough resistance on the strings to where you're actually making the sound, right? But if you push down too hard, you'll have trouble sliding, and you'll get that kind of fret sound in between the slides. You want it just hard enough to keep the strings down, but not so hard that it stops you from sliding. So pick, slide, pick, slide, pick, slide, pick, slide, pull off, pick, slide, pull, and then open G and B strings. Let me play that for you really slow, and then I'll do it normal speed. Here you go. And one more time. Okay, when you hit those last two G and B strings together open, that covers the next two measures of the G chord, and you just let those ring out for two whole notes or two measures. After that, you go to an E minor chord. So I'm still gonna go back to thinking about this E minor pentatonic, G major pentatonic, whichever way you wanna think about. But what I do is to take my second finger, on the second part of the G, hit that, and that's on beat 2, so 1, 2, and. So slide up from 2 to 4 with your middle finger, 1, 2, and then reach to the 3rd fret of the B with your index finger for an 8th note, back to the 4th fret of the G string with your middle finger for an 8th note, and then your 3rd finger grabs the 5th fret of the B string. So that measure is 1, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, so that's the way it sounds in context. One more time, very slow. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and more up to the speed of the song. 1. Okay. Next measure is still over an E minor chord, but we have a rest, a dotted quarter rest. So 1 and 2. On the end of 2, pre-bend the 5th fret of the B string up. And I'm using my 3rd finger and my 1st and 2nd fingers to come help bend a full step. And that pitch is good on 1 and 1 is the 7th fret. So pre-bend it, hit it, let it down. Then you come to the 3rd fret of the B with your index finger, 4th fret of the G with your middle finger, then back to the 3rd fret of the B with your 1st finger. So that lick. So I'll do both of those measures of E slow and then fast forward. So 1. After that, you go to an A7 sus4 chord, and I end up thinking about this A major shape right here. And just go to the 2nd fret of the G string, which is an A note. And from there, I have the 4th fret of that same string, the G string, but I'm bending it a full step. And all I'm thinking about, I don't really think about a chord shape here as much as I do, okay, if this is the root, the A, then I have the 2nd here, and I'm bending it up a whole step. So I'm bending it up to the 3rd. So I'm bending from an A, so start on an A, hit this B, and bend it up to a C sharp. After that, you have the 3rd fret of the B string with your 1st finger, 5th fret of the B string with your 3rd finger. Then you come back to that 4th fret of the G string. Do another full step bend, and come back down to the root note, the A note there. So that lick slow will be. A little faster. So let me play those two measures of E minor and A7 sus4 for you. So 1. Okay, from there you go back to an E minor chord, and you start off with your middle finger on the 2nd fret. This is kind of the same way we started the solo off with. So 2nd finger, 2nd fret of the G string, hit that, slide up to the 4th fret. Then 3rd fret of the B string, 4th fret of the G string, 5th fret of the B string with your 3rd finger. So to make sure it's the exact same fingering we did up earlier at the very beginning of the solo. And then next measure, we're still over an E minor chord. You have a rest on beat 1, and then 5th fret, which we're already on. That was the last note of the last phrase. We bend that up, leave it bent up, hit it again, let it back down, pull off to the 3rd fret of that B string, and then back to the 5th fret of that B string. And that's the whole thing over that E minor. So 1. And the timing on that will be this 1, 2, 3, and 4. 5, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So 1, 2. From there you go back to an A7 sus4 chord, and it's the same idea we had last time we played over this chord in the solo. So you start with on the root note for 3 beats, 1, 2, 3, with that dotted half note there, and then on beat 4 you hit the 4th fret of that G string with your 3rd finger again, just like we did earlier, and bend it up a full step on 4 and let it back down. So 4 and then come back down to the root note to finish things off, and that's the last note of the solo. So 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm gonna play those last 4 measures for you. So 1, 2. Okay, that's it for this song. The really challenging part of this song to me is the bends, because you're on acoustic, so it's a really big strength builder. I haven't been playing a ton of acoustic lately, so I was like, my finger was like, ooh, what are you doing to me? So it will take you some time to build the strength to get those bends up if this is new to you. The other part that I thought was pretty challenging for most players, for newer players particularly, is the pull-off part. So give that a little bit of extra attention. And if you need any help with anything, go to guitarfam.com, create a complimentary account, and don't forget that every Guitar Fam member, regardless of, even if it's just a complimentary account, gets a private one-on-one free video lesson with me. You can schedule that on the site too if that's something you're interested in. See you guys later. Let me know in the comments below what other famous solos you like videos for. Bye.